And I'm going to give you the mic. Thank
All
you.
right.
Okay.
Well, here we are.
Yes, darling.
Here we are. I don't know if I'm on. Yeah, I guess you could hear me. This is quite overwhelming. Quite an honor. It's something that when I was a little girl, I never dreamed that something like this would happen to me. I lived right down the street from Sam Goldwyn's studio, and our neighbor had a commissary, and I was allowed to go on the lot anytime I wanted to, because she told them that I was her, her little niece. So there I was meeting Buster, not Buster Crab,
Boston Blackie.
Boston Blackie. What's his real name? I forgot the name.
Chester Morris.
Chester Morris, yes. And I got to see the Dead End Kids, and this was in the 30s. I was very, very young. And I got to meet the Dead End Kids and Freddie Bartholomew. So everything I dreamed of, I was living. There was right in Hollywood. I was born in Hollywood, at the Hollywood Hospital. My father worked at the Bank of Hollywood on the corner of Hollywood and Vine. So I was a true Hollywoodite. And I remember, dreaming when I stood on the corner of Hollywood and Vine with my father and watched the Santa Claus Lane parade go by, that someday I'd get to ride in it. And I did. Gene Barry and I got to ride in it. I think it was like 2004 or 5. I'm not quite sure what year it was. But Gene Barry and I had a wonderful trip down Hollywood Lane. And so never in my life did I dream that something like this I would be honored to do. This is absolutely overwhelming. And it's everything, that you grow up in Hollywood not knowing that, people are going to think you're famous and people are going to want to be with you, and how grateful I am that all you lovely people have come so far away. You've traveled so far, and here you are. My dear distant cousins here came all the way from Kenton, Ohio.
Wow.
They're distant cousins. On my father's mother's side, my grandmother's side, my father's mother. So if there's anything that anyone would like to know about me, I'll be very happy to answer it. Any questions?
How did you start out as a stunt woman?
Oh, well, I met, I needed to get a guild card. So I started out learning how to ride Western saddle with an old Western cowboy star, Johnny Carpenter. And we did a short movie together, and somebody from the studio saw me, and somebody from the studio just said, this girl can not only ride a horse, she can act. So I had a favor gave me a Screen Extras card. So I was an extra for a while, and excuse me. And then in those days, once you had one union card, you could join any other union that you wished to. So right away, I joined the Screen Actors Guild, and that's how I became a stunt woman. Yakima Canutt, and yes.
Oh, we all know Yakima Canutt.
Yes, he was one of my benefactors, a lovely man, and helped me get into movies as a stunt woman. And we were just watching the first thing I ever did today when Bud Bedecker was the director. It was called Black Midnight with Roddy McDowell, a Lindsay Parsons production. And my dear son Jaime Bravo found it for me. I only saw the one episode just once, years and years and years ago, 1949, I believe it was. And there I was, my first job as a stunt girl. Yes, doubling for the young lady in the movie. And it was so much fun to see. So that's how I got started.
What was your first screen credit?
I don't know. Was it Clarence Carter?
It would be Joan Crawford.
It would be the Joan Crawford movie, Goodbye My Fancy. I had to have a screen test for that. And I remember standing up there in a big old studio with the cameraman and the Vincent Sherman, the director, and up walks Joan Crawford, because I think they were sweethearts at the time. So she came in and visited with him while they were interviewing me, and she approved of me, and I got the part as Clarisse Carter, the drama student in Goodbye My Fancy with Joan Crawford. And I know she had a very strong reputation of not liking people, but she was so kind to me. Just, I could never understand why she disliked a few people and complained about her attitude towards them, because she was so kind to me.
Especially Betty Davis.
Oh, I wish I'd met her, though. I was sorry I never got to meet her.
You handed her a bouquet of flowers, I remember.
Carice Carter, Dramatics Club. In the theater of life, you have made woman's role more important and more truly rich. We at the Dramatics Club applaud you, Agatha Reed.
In Goodbye, My
Yes,
Fancy.
exactly. And you,
Oh, you do
you're a
remember.
drama. Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Because I just got to see it again today.
Oh, yeah.
My actual first Goodbye, My Fancy was the second movie I was in that I got, I was, looked for it. I had a screen test for it. The other movie, I was just a stunt girl, but I had an awfully good time in it.
There was another
First time I was ever on film.
Another Joan Crawford movie, swimsuit models in film. When I think it was a gangster flick. Do you remember, Terry? It was a Joan Crawford movie. They find film, and you're one of the swimsuit models swimming with Joan Crawford.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even remember.
I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
I gotta find that. There you go.
I would remember that.
I'll get back to you on that
We
one.
hear this all the time, and all of a sudden she goes, "Oh my God, that's me!" We hear this all the time.
No?
Yeah.
How did you get your part in War of the Worlds? I mean, it didn't come easy, did it?
Well, I was under contract at Paramount Studio. I was a member of the famous Golden Circle. That organization started in 1922. Pardon me.
You take your time.
No, I still have a cough that I'm struggling with. Sorry.
Need some water?
No, thank you, dear. And they had, I guess, read everybody at the studio, and I don't know who else read for the part. And the Charlotte Clary, who was the drama coach at the studio, I had done a recording. It was a breath exercise of doing two voices simultaneously, a wicked voice and a very innocent, pathetic voice. And so I had to learn how to take a breath in between, so not to take a breath just before I changed my voice, so I could change my voice immediately, and there'd be no detection that it was one person. They thought it was two different people. I did read for War of the Worlds, and no one was, George Pell was not particularly impressed with me. But Miss Charlotte Clary said, "I want you to listen to this record." And so it was very dramatic, and the girl had a healthy scream. And so
You sure did.
he said, "Well, no, you don't look the part at all, or not exactly what we had in mind, so I guess we're going to have to make you look the part." And so I was just lucky enough to, they put a wig on me, so that funny hair right there that you see on the cover of Film Facts. I said it looked like an old Joan Crawford wig with the bangs and the pageboard. So they made me look like a nice young girl from Hemet, California.
Yeah. You had short hair and...
I had very short poodle cut, bright red, even a different color, of course, red hair, very orange, very bright, a very short poodle cut. And they said I was far too sophisticated. So they put a big wig on me and made me look like a homespun girl. Yeah. And I was supposed to be a school teacher from USC, so I guess I eventually, like Stefan said, my son, they're so funny. He said, "Mother, the reason that movie is such a classic today is because you didn't ruin it." He said, women have a tendency to, they don't belong in a science fiction movie.
Girls get in the way.
They get in the way. That's right, and I agreed with him. And then he talked me into the fact that he said, the movie was sort of a very important movie around you, as someone who didn't want to be there, shouldn't have been there, and I was stuck.
How's Byron Haskin to work with as a director?
Well, Byron Haskin was an amazing man, because a lot of people did not know that he was quite a photographer, cinematographer in World War II. Mm-hmm. And so that's why War of the Worlds is filmed so beautifully as a war movie, because he knew how to direct and make it. It's a heck of a war movie. That's what it is. when you look at it, is war.
And years later, when he did Robinson Crusoe on Mars, he paid homage to your movie by using the same saucers.
Well, and they took out the, they used one saucer, just one. It was a small one. It was really made out of balsa wood. It never did appear in the actual film. And they took out the cobra head and used it in Robinson Crusoe on Mars.
Everybody knew it was.
Oh, yes, they
was-
recognized it immediately.
recognized it right
Oh,
away,
yes, of
yeah.
course.
And
And-
few people don't realize that in the first season of Star Trek, always when the Enterprise was using whatever they needed to defend, it was always the same sound effect
Yeah.
of the Martian war machine.
Wow, yeah.
Gene Barry. You had instant chemistry there. I mean, how was it working with Gene
He
Barry?
was a lovely man. He was a New York song and dance man, and was very popular on on Broadway back here. And he had packed up his wife and in a car and all the money that they had left and moved out to California. And I said, "What made you sign up with Paramount?" And he said they had the most money. He got $750 a week, and I got $125 a week.
Big money in those
It
days.
was, you know, it was very big. It just, all I did was go to the studio every day and go to the drama department, and we did a lot of reading with other people who were anticipating, you know, getting a screen test or a reading. So that's how we were all trained while we were at the studio.
She spent an afternoon kissing Rock Hudson all day at Universal.
Oh, that was something. I know, but I was so overwhelmed kissing him all afternoon. I never got a contract at Universal.
It was Damn Don't Cry, that was the movie.
The Damn Don't Cry.
Yeah, Damn Don't
I
Cry.
do remember. Yes, you're right. I do remember
1950,
that.
yeah, and it was a film, yeah.
That title. Thank you.
Yeah, so there you go, okay.
Oh, I've just done so many things. It's hard to remember.
That's a good thing.
Pardon me.
I have a question. And it's a question that's based on a news clipping I have here. Of course, you know how credible the news can be. But this is from October 4th, 1955, and it says, Anne Robinson believes she would have never gotten the lead in the Warner Brothers movie Dragnet with Jack Webb if she hadn't dyed her hair red.
No, I don't believe that. No.
Then I'll give you the reporter's name. You can write to her.
My hair was already red.
Uh-huh.
I was already, it had grown out. I now had a page boy. But the truth of the matter is, I had an audition. I went to read for Jack Webb, and he apologized that he had already given the part to Randy Brooks, another actress. But he said, I would like to have you read. You've gone to so much trouble to be here. I would like you to read for me, and perhaps it'll be something in the future. So I figured I didn't have anything to lose, so all I did was read the script and imitate him. And so afterwards he said, well, excuse us just a moment, and would you mind waiting? And they came back and said, you know, we rather like you a little better than the woman we hired.
Wow.
So they paid her and her agent and hired me. So that's how I got the part with Dragnet. And that a lot of people think that that was the pilot, but it wasn't. It was the first feature-length movie after a year or two of the popularity of Dragnet. And Warner Brothers, they decided to make a movie because it was so popular on television.
Sure.
And I was so lucky. So I was the first policewoman in Hollywood.
Wow.
Before Angie Dickinson. She had the TV series, but I got a movie first.
She had the first Close Encounter, and she was the first piece.
I have one more.
Oh, all right, one more fact.
Yeah, this is another 1950s article. Hollywood is from Hollywood. Anne Robinson pleas for talented actresses. Up-and-coming actress Anne Robinson says that too many starlets depend on physical appeal and gimmicks rather than their talent and success. Anne, who is quite appealing herself, had no reluctance about calling a spade and a starlet an extrovert. She exploded, an actress who concentrates more on showing off her plunging neckline. Don't take this too serious. Her plunging neckline, more than showing off her acting ability, should be censored.
I don't know.
You said
I don't think, did I say that?
You must have, because that's a long quote. There's more to the, I mean, it's very,
I
Good press
really don't
agent,
know.
got a good press
I
agent.
don't, it sounds too fancy for my
for your words.
For
Yeah.
my
And that
words.
happens, we know that
Sounds far
happens.
too intelligent and fancy for my words. I can't imagine my saying something so unkind.
Well, that's very interesting, yeah.
You know,
Sorry, Ken.
Mr. Sapphire touched on a few TV programs that you appeared in, but you appeared in a lot of TV
I was
programs.
surprised. I did a lot of westerns that I'd forgotten about. We were out at the Gene Autry Museum in Griffith Park a few months ago, and they started reading off my credits. I didn't know that I'd been in
Wow.
that many westerns
Yeah.
on television,
Huh.
and I was so pleased. I was so pleased.
One of my favorites was Rocky Jones Space Ranger, where you appeared as the princess.
I was Juliandra, suzerain of Herculon, and I had an evil twin sister named Noviandra, who was locked in a dungeon, and all she did was want to do harm to Herculon, and she ended up being crushed to death by a robot. I had a wonderful time. I loved that
Oh, I can
series.
tell you really were over the top. I enjoyed it.
I know. I want to see that.
It's on YouTube. It's on
I've
YouTube.
got to see that last scene where my son Jaime said you could always. He's never seen my eyebrows and eyes work like that.
But I saw
So
it in
evil
syndication. I saw it in syndication in the '60s. They were still running it on
Oh,
TV.
really? No.
Yeah, yeah.
You put it on so I could see it on Facebook.
Yeah, I've put it on several times, and people were quite surprised that you did television. They didn't realize it was. They thought it was just motion pictures, but
Oh, well.
you did a lot. I mean, you
I
worked with
was surprised.
Cesar Romero and Passport to
Oh, he was lovely man.
Passport to
A
Danger.
lovely man.
I know that business must bore you, my lovelies. Why don't you run along and take your rest? And sleep well. Except you, my dear Jory. It was very bad of you, my dear. But then you were always the difficult one, so I am not surprised. Fiesel will have you searched. A small embarrassment, my dear. Provided no incriminating evidence is found, you will be taken ashore. Otherwise... What did she expect to accomplish, Mr. McQueen? What did you expect to buy from her?
I never saw the young lady before tonight.
No, I worked enough to be able to get a pension and medical, so I evidently I
Did you
worked
ever
more
did
than
you
I
ever do any
remembered.
radio?
Pardon me?
Did you ever do any radio?
No, I did not.
Ah,
No, that would have been fun.
yeah.
That would have been nice to do. No, I was much too young then. It was just too young to do radio, and now it's almost like TV sort of ruined motion pictures. Suddenly, the studio contract people were no longer wanted. You didn't have a contract players where they groomed them and wanted them for their stars. Oh, I meant it was. Oh dear, now I forget. What's your name? Our dear girlfriend from the Golden Circle.
Casey Rogers.
Oh, Casey
Oh,
Rogers.
Casey Ro-
Barbara Rush. Casey
Barbara
Rogers.
Rush.
Barbara Rush is-
Barbara Rush was one that really became a true star. That was one of the Golden Circle girls. No, that started, as I said, way back in 1922, where Fay Ray was at Golden Circle, and Gary Cooper, an awful lot of people. Then they went through the 40s. They had another group of people, and then ours. And then it was all over with.
Yeah.
The studio system just sort of disappeared.
Yeah.
But Imitation of Life is the craziest one that you.
That's
Oh.
right. Everybody remembers you in Imitation Life. You
Well-
were not a good girl. In
No,
Imitation.
everybody hated me in Imitation Alive. And a lot of friends of mine, like Larry Storch was here, Sarah Valentine, Carl Valentine's daughter, loved that movie. It's one of her favorite movies, and hated my part, not knowing me very, very well, but not knowing that I was doing that particular part. Excuse me, is when Susan Kohner is saying goodbye to her mother in the hotel room, Juanita Moore. And Susan Kohner is passing for white and doesn't want her mother to ever ever talk to her or meet her on the street and say anything to her. It's a very, very delicate and heart-rending, scene. And then I walk in, I'm a showgirl, and I was hired because Susan Kohner and Juanita Moore, it was like divided in half. They were the darker people, and where Lana Turner and her were the lighter people. And I came in as, one was blonde and one was brunette. And I came in as a tall, skinny, long neck, bright red hair showgirl, and a very bigoted one. So when I walked in, I see Juanita Moore, of course assuming she is the maid, and I said, if you're the maid, I want to tell you that, there are ants in my shower.
I remember that scene.
And she says, oh, well, it must be very uncomfortable for you. And so after they finish the scene, and they kiss and they say, goodbye, Mama, sort of pantomime it.
Yeah.
And I walked back over and I said, well, get you, honey child. I didn't know y'all had a mammy. And my God, everybody's hated me for that ever since. And of course, you couldn't do that today.
Mama. Oh, my baby. Come on, Linda, they're waiting. Say, listen, if you're the new maid, I want to report that my shower's full of ants.
Oh, I'm sorry, miss. That must be very uncomfortable. But I just happened to be in town and I dropped in to see Miss Linda. I used to take care of her. Well, I guess I'll be running along. My plane's leaving in a little while, Miss Linda. Goodbye, honey. You take good care of yourself. Goodbye.
Well, get you. So, honey child, you had a mammy.
Yes. All my life.
Right now it would be very, very bad choice to do that part.
Politically incorrect.
Politically incorrect.
Oh, but the crux of the movie.
But it's the crux of the movie. It shows just how bigoted and what went on, just how they felt in that movie. And was it Ross Hunter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ross Hunter, I was chosen by him, and I was so very surprised, that the part had such an effect on people after all these years.
And finally, Peter Gunn. Got to work with Craig Stevens.
I know.
How was it like working with Craig?
Oh, it was a delightful person. Gene Barry, we didn't even get to finish discussing how lovely Gene Barry was, and then I got to spend so much time with him. And there was 10 years difference between the two of us. He was born in 1919, and I was born in 1929. So, but he was married, had a delightful wife, Betty. And so we had nothing in common. He was just a lovely 10-year older man, and very polite, very kind. And I got to see him later on do La Cage. And he was...
People don't realize he can sing too.
Oh, what a voice he had. What a magnificent voice he had. And he did La Cage aux Folles.
Is that how Broadway? Did you do Burke's Law?
Yes.
Yes.
He sang on that show.
Did he really? Burke's Law.
He was undercover.
And he sang on Charlie's Angels with Cheryl Ladd.
Yeah. I used to love Burke's Law. They actually used to show it.
He's quite a guy. He had a Tony nominee. He was a Tony nominee.
Chemistry was there.
Oh, he was
amazing.
When we worked together, I don't. He was just so.
You made War of the Worlds.
He was so protective of me in the movie. He was so protective of this poor girl that didn't want to be there. But you were talking about Peter Gunn.
Peter Gunn, yeah.
Well, in television, you work so quickly. It's only, an hour show is 3 days, half-hour show is a day and a half. It's done so quickly, so you don't get to meet people and share anything or talk with them. It was just fun to do. It was fun to be on a Peter Gunn.
You look like you had fun.
I loved, but I got killed.
Yeah, I know.
And I got murdered somehow. I don't know what happened, but that was about it. But this has been something else. This has been something else, and all you lovely people have gone to so much trouble.
These are all Facebook
to come-
friends.
And you're all Facebook.
All Facebook friends here tonight. No strangers here.
It's just such a lovely thing.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you.
Such an honor that you
Is she a doll?
Very pretty, very
I
nice.
wanted to get her back here.
Very elegant.
And classy lady. And
Take it out of the, well, I
she
wanted,
was very successful when she was here doing my show 8 years ago.
Oh, we had a lovely time.
One of my better shows. And I told myself I wanted to get her back here and have a little special
can you
little
imagine
party for you.
the
and-
trouble this man has gone through, the effort and the expense that he has gone through to have me Thank you so much for all your trouble and your effort.
Oh my God, what are you giving me here?
Well, you have to open it up and see.
What are you giving me here? Where's Robert? Mrs. Robinson, you trying to seduce me?
Hello. You'll think of me every time you look at it.
A piece of the Martian machine.
It's a piece of the Martian machine. You're absolutely right.
Oh my God.
And there's the Martian machine.
Oh my God.
Let's see it. Captain?
Oh, wow.
On the other side.
It's a clock.
From War of the World.
War of the World.
There's
I see.
the
That's-
Martian machine.
The Martian machine.
And
That's
there's the
nice.
little description.
And the clock.
Hold it between you.
Yeah, hold it.
Hold it up, Terry.
Take a picture. Hold
It
it, Terry.
says,
It's a little clock. It's a clock. Yeah.
They put it in
Very
glass.
nice.
you truly are Cherry, you truly are Superman.
You are a Superman. And there's my signature
Is
in
your
the ring.
signature
Hold
right
it up,
there?
Terry.
Yes. And
Mary, hold it
look
between
at
the
the
two.
side. Look how
Hold
you
it
can see.
between the two.
Turn your hands around.
Yeah, cho-
Between that.
Look how you
And let's see
You have
you.
your finger right over the war machine.
Yeah, what's the matter with you? Get away from him. It's in your front of your
Don't press
face.
the button.
There you go. There's a little
Between-
war machine right there.
Terry, follow instructions between the two of you.
Between.
That's it, good.
Middle.
That's good. Thank you.
Steve Freeman, I'm gonna get you
nice
later
game.
for this.
So now every time you look at the